we have a saying in Chinese. That's the phrase many times come up in my conversation when I talk with people. So some of you may be familiar with this. Actually, last year I had a series of content sharing on LinkedIn. It was through the post, and it was really interesting experience because I got to connect with some like-minded people, and also it was a learning experience for myself, to be honest, and also quite empowering. Try to stay on track and being able to share something on consistent basis. So it was interesting experience. And first, I want to say thank you, everyone, for who have been there with me for those months. It was interesting. And now this year, I have this access to LinkedIn live streaming. So I decided to bring this series back. So what stayed the same is I will continue share my Chinese saying. It's a way to share the language, the culture, and the wisdom behind, and also together with some reflections and thoughts around expat life, entrepreneurship, leadership, intercultural communication, transitions, business development, or personal or professional growth. So whatever come up in my mind, whatever resonate, connected with the Chinese saying I'm going to share. So I'll bring it to you to share with you. So with this new series of my Chinese saying, I will be here on every Thursday, 5 p.m. Central Europe time. And I promise I'll be here on time next time. So hopefully I'll be able to see you around live here and being able to engage with you in real time. And also another thing that makes this series different from last year is I'd love to open this opportunity also to anyone who would love to come in here as a guest speaker. You are more than welcome to come in here to share your favorite Chinese saying and how it inspired you. So if you are curious how it works, if you love to come on camera, join me, please let me know. Let's talk. We'll figure out something together. Okay. So with all being said, I see we have some friends here. Hi, Darcy. Hi, Dora and Fiona. I also see Nicholas here from Berlin. Cool. Thank you. And again, feel free to share your thought in the chat window anytime. I've always loved to hear from you, especially that's why we'll make this live streaming special, right? So let's talk about our saying today. As you see here, we have a saying in Chinese, 温故而知新. So this is a saying from Confucius, and literal translation, it means to review the old or the learned knowledge or insight from the past, and then you can always discover or regain some new insight or learn something new, something deeper. So this saying, when we look at the characters, so when means heat or reheat, right? Or something like a review here. That's how it is translated as. And the gu means old. Here refers to the old knowledge or old insight or old learning from the past. Is like and then, so that, as a connection here. 知 is a verb, means regain or to learn, to receive. 新 is opposite to the 故. 新 means new. Here refer to the new insight, new knowledge. So 温故而知新. Review from the past. You can always regain and learn something new. So from that saying, I want to talk about how important to review and what's the reasons behind. And also I would love to share with you or explore together with you actually how to build learning or training program or plans with a team within corporate setting in an organization to make sure review become part of the process and to bring its maximum value, because review matters. Review actually matters a lot. Let's talk about why it's important to review. So some of you here, if you have ever, or if you are actually now trying to learn a foreign language, right? We all know we have this learning cycle, and some people call that the forgetting curves. So basically with the time passing by, what you learned in the beginning the memory start fading. So what we can do is to review the knowledge at a certain pace with certain frequency to make sure it's really stay in your mind, to make sure you really can digest and turn it into your own knowledge, something you can use and you can apply, right? So the key here is it is a productive approach to recognize your own learning cycle and your own forgetting curves because everyone's different. So that you can review at certain frequency with a focus on specific content. So for example, I'm learning Spanish. So every day I commit about like 1 hour time to expand some vocabulary. I use Duolingo, the app, or I read some articles, or I watch movie, listen to music. But every day I always make sure there's a certain time from that 1 hour actually I use for review. But for me, my review pace or the forgetting curve is like the first day, and then I review the second day, and then the fourth day, seventh day. So that's how it worked with me. Here, and I see, yeah, Dory, right. That's from Consciousness, and also Dan. Welcome, Dan from Latin America. Interesting. Or I should say, hola. I just talking about I'm learning Spanish. So, como estás? Hope you're doing fun, Dan. Yeah. So let me get back to my so about the language. That's the first thing. It's about the review. It's important to review at your own pace, the one that you recognize that work for you the best. And the second thing about learning, we always say the best way to learn is to use the knowledge, to really apply it into the real life scenario, to use into your practice. That's how you get the best practice. That's even how you continue the learning. So many people know the importance of to apply the knowledge. But my question for you is how many of you, after you apply, you look back to originally what you learned, and to think, okay, from my practice, so what further question I have? Oh, what turned out actually works well for me? Or what turned out something actually doesn't work as I expected, right? For example, use the example of language again, right? So I learned some word in the textbook, how people talk. But when I really go out there to talk to people, maybe I learn something new, I can add it back. Or I can look back and say, okay, something I learned actually now it makes sense through my practice. So that's the thing about practice, and then go back to review again. And the last piece here about why it is important to review is about ourselves. It's about how our brain works, because as human, how our brain or how our perception work is intentionally or unintentionally. Actually, every second we are evolving. Our brains evolving, our perception, how we observe, how we receive all the information and redigest, right? And also our capability to learn and the possibility to use the knowledge that updating in every second. Even to be honest, when you are sleeping, if you think, if you learn something before you go to bed at night, you read a book, right? And after a good night's sleep in the morning, because you are well rested and your brain is so refreshed, there also could be a great chance to review, to think back again what you were reading last night. What's something new you realized, or what's something new you discovered? Because that's how we keep evolving, and this is like a continuous circle. Yeah, and I see Dan here, 谢谢不客气. And also, yeah, anyone else remember the English, you don't use it, you will lose it. It's actually exactly like you said here, actually. When you use it, it's a way to review it as well, right? And also, yeah, it is difficult to review. I think especially to keep in mind, to build the review into your habit, right? Something coming so naturally just become part of the process. You don't always have to say, hey, this is the point of review. Actually, the review could be in everywhere, right? Thank you for sharing, everyone. Yeah. And now, after talking about why important to review, I want to explore a bit how to build your learning or training program in a corporate setting, in a team. This could be something hopefully helpful for individuals, but also for the team leaders or the training team in charge of in the company, in charge of the training. And so what can we do to make sure review is part of the process, like we say with individual, right? And also how we can maximize the value, the benefit that review can bring to us. So the first tip I have here is to set a very clear goal for your training program together with the evaluation plan. So what does it mean? So you have a goal for your training, and you also want to set a stretch goal. What else, what furthermore you want to reach, you want to achieve through the training. And there will be also a bottom line goal, like at least, right, what you want to reach after the training. So the first part of the review here actually is about to review how much exactly does your audience, the attendees, receive from the training. Because if you think back, there could be different ways, different forms of training. Could be workshop, presentation, demos, even like hands-on practice on site, or discussion, Q&A, different forms. But still, most time the training is more like a one-sided conversation. Even you can make it very engaging, interactive, but still it is challenging for the trainers to get a very accurate information. Okay, I'm here to deliver 10 out of 10 the content, but exactly how much are the audience walking away from this 10? Is that 3 or 5 or 7 or 10, right? So here it's come to the point to review the training performance. That's the first important thing I want to emphasize here. So how can we do that? So for the short program or one-time program, we can choose to do informal way. For example, to keep certain time in the end of the training, just to collect some feedback from people in a like open discussion way. Could be on-site or off-site. Some people maybe feel more comfortable to share with you in private, right? Oh, for some longer term program, we can also do some post-training survey to really get into the details. Remember, we have the goal, because only when you have specific goal, and then you can track back, you can review, did you reach the goal? If your goal was very vague, how can you review if you reach it, right? So through the survey or feedback collecting, we can try to understand, okay, where were people before they take the training? And where are they after they take the training? What's their expectation? How satisfied? And how do they see the potential to really apply and use the knowledge? So this one's important to review the performance of the training program, because it helps the training team continue improving the training program based on a very accurate and actual, exactly better understanding of what's the team, what's their need, right? And also to explore what's the most efficient way to deliver the training. So that's about the first part, how important to set the goal and include the evaluation, the review of the training performance. Yeah, so let's see. I see we have question. Can you please talk about how not to beat yourself up for the past mistake? I find it that's especially hard for companies as well as individuals. Yes. I would say sometimes we say you cannot make a mistake, because mistake is something you know it is wrong and then you decide to do it anyway. So actually we call that mistake is because after you take action, you realize the outcome is not what I expected. It's like an error, like for people who do programming, probably, when you do the program, right, you put some code, you do the coding. Only when you run it and then you see it worked or not, and then you fix the bugs, right? But when you do the coding, for sure you are trying to put the right coding, right? So how to beat yourself, not to beat yourself up. I think the best way to see everything, shift your mindset to really see everything as a learning experience. So for example, I used to like to read newspaper, like a newspaper to help me to learn German when I just came to here. And the thing is, I realized after trying a while, I didn't really get to learn too much, and then I realized because the content in newspaper are not really something I'm more interested. I'm more like music. I love watch movie stuff. So the mistake, the wrong decision I made from the past actually helped me to realize what does not work for me, and also helped me to save the time, help me to reduce the continued loss or waste of my time on reading newspaper to learn German. I realized, it doesn't work for me. Okay, I move on. So what else I can do? I can watch movies. I can talk to friends who speak German, right? So I hope that helps with your question, Doro. And also, I see Fiona say, if you ask me to review, even though it is very important, well, I don't know what to review as I have learned a lot in the past. That's a interesting, yeah, because I think, like I said, every day actually we're learning, every second. I mean, if you really keep your eyes open, keep your mind open, right? You see something, you can always reflect on it. So what to review first, I would say, what stand out to you? And remember, especially when you're trying to learn something or take a training on something, there should be a goal, right? The reason why you do it. So how important that's to you? So when you have many things you learn, what's come up to your mind first? What is something you want to commit more time on it? So for example, every day I read something about psychology. I read something around my coaching. I watch some cat videos for fun, right? I listen to music in German and Spanish. I always learning. But what comes to me, for example, I have very strong commitment to learning Spanish because I love the language. So I always make sure I go back because that's important to me. And also another trick, Fiona, for you to think about what to review is also think about what kind of thing you feel time flies. You lose track of time when you do that thing, when you learn that thing. Because sometimes when you learn something, maybe because you have to for work or for whatever reason, but something just purely because you feel the passion for it, right? So that's also another sign you want to look for. The first one is what goal, what's important to you, what's the on top of your priority. The other one is what's your interest, what you are passionate, what you make you feel like in the flow, you lose track of time. So that's about for Fiona. And yeah, like Dan said, it's the trial and error. We'll make attempt and then we refine our techniques. Just like I said, we keep evolving. That's the point of our review. It's helping us to be better or to realize what works or what doesn't work. And sometimes I always say, if you fall off from a horse, maybe it's time to try with a pony, right? So there's no mistake. It's about how we can learn from the past while we review or looking back. Wow, that's a really great questions, everyone. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yeah, thank you, Fiona. And now let me go back to the second point about how to build the learning and the training program to include the review in our process. The second piece is different from training because when we do training, still we have a certain space, we have a framework, we have a structure, right? We have a group of audience who come in with kind of share the common goal. That's why people come in these training program, or that's why a company do a training program. But when it comes to the review process, it could be more personalized or could be and more flexible. Why is that? Because everyone has their own take on and reflection. And everyone could get different chance after the training. People can get different chances to apply it or test it out, do some experiment. And because their experiment are different, so the later on another layer, the review and the new knowledge they gain on the personal level will be also very diverse. So imagine it's like we all start from these same contents, the training, but then everyone got their own way, right? And that some people go further, some people stay in this level, some maybe people take 1 month to reflect, some people take 3 months to review. So it is important for a company or a training team to realize there will be diverse different level of learning and review process when it comes to each individual. And what the company can do here is we can still try to develop some tools or provide certain learning resources or support. Even simply just a reminder, tell people, hey, remember we did the training about da da da. Don't forget to review. Don't forget to really try out your work tomorrow. And so later on, after a period of time, it is important for the company to create an open space where people can come back. It's like from the foundation, everyone go out like spread out. And we create another space for people go back together again into a group where everyone can share their new insights, their new learning through their own review and practice. So this one's important because we want to allow people have a space to share. And like another Chinese saying we have, 三人行必有我师, right? 3 people together, someone of them can be my teacher. In English, it's like everyone's a teacher and a student, right? So when we have this space, we'll come back, everyone come in after they try out everything, they review everything, they learn everything, they come back again to share again. But the sharing experience, it's another chance, it's another opportunity for learning again for everyone. So some people maybe got inspired by other, or some people may get some new sparks, or some people may have some questions from their own review. They can bring it back to discuss with the peers, right? So that's about the second tip I have about for the team training and the review is to summarize is honor the personalized and the flexible review process for each individual, but it's also important to create another open space for people to bring it back, to share again, to review together again. Let me see. Yeah. And the last point here I want to share about this is review and the follow through with action. Because follow through matters. I can see. Yeah, no problem. Thank you for being here, Dora. And I'll have playback afterwards, so you are welcome to watch the playback later. And we should definitely catch up soon. Yeah, practice some German or Chinese. Yeah. Okay, so the last part, review and follow through. Because either review or learning, it is a continuous process. It's a never end. We take a training, we learn something, we read a book, and we review. And we go out to use it, we practice, we gain the insight, we review again, and we apply the new insight, we use it again, so like this way. Especially in the team setting, this process could be really powerful because within the team or a group of people, we have this collective wisdom. So everything could become multiplied. So we extend and expand the learning through the review process, the continual review process. Imagine, so you got to extend the depth, something you learn deeper, or you got to spread the learning with more people or into wider space. Yeah, so it's really important. The reason I say follow through with action is think about how to build the review process into your training process to turn it into a routine. It's not something separated because it's always a part of the training, because the training program itself is never just a one-time thing or one program thing. It's just a starting point. So that's the 3 things I want to talk about training in the team. And let me see the time. Yeah, I'm going to use a simple example, a quick example about training, just to kind of mirror back about what I've been shared, because I know it's a lot of information, right? So let's say, for example, there's a medium-sized tech company want to do DEI training program, the diversity, equity, and integration. The program is 2 months. We meet once a week. So the goal is to learn some tools and framework that help the company being able to integrate the DEI approaches into their everyday operation of their business. And the attendees are C-level executives, directors, and senior managers. So let's say this is the example. So when we think about the first one, set the clear goal with the evaluation plan as part of it, the review, the measurable review plan, right? So with this way, we say, okay, so the goal is to learn the tool and the framework. And what could be the stretch goal here? So the stretch goal could be, we are hoping to design the company hoping to design some DEI approach that works and support their company and also each individual's growth in the company. And even could be something bigger, the company through their own DEI approaches work, and that even bringing greater impact to the society, to the community, to their industry. And what could be the bottom line here? Bottom line could be at least everyone show up to each training, each week's training, the meetup. So at least the people start raising the awareness about this. People start talking about this. So let's say this program is 2 months. How can we do the review? So it could be after each week, after the training, we can do some on-site casual conversation, even during the coffee break. Oh, what do you think? Is that something what you expected, or something more than you wanted, or something too much or too less? Right, the casual way. But also we can do like a post-training survey, like I mentioned. So how much you know about DEI before the training, how much after, and how specifically you think you can give it a try after the training in your work. And remember the second point I was saying, everyone's review process could be very personalized or different. So imagine in this training, so the C-level executives, for them, the way they review it or apply the knowledge could be more on the strategy level. See how to integrate DEI into their company culture, into their business strategy, into their people strategy, right? And when it's come to the director or senior manager level, it could be really into their day-to-day action, their work, into their work agenda. And also, for example, the people more from the administration team, probably they got more chance to try out the DEI tools framework they learned in the training internally inside the company. But people from sales or marketing department, imagine, they got to try it out with people outside the company, and all the different responses they receive and everything they learn from that. And in the end, we bring it back again to the collective wisdom, because it is important for the C-level executives to understand how the senior managers, even how every person in the company feel about the DEI, the changes in the company. But also important for everyone at least to hear about, okay, so what's the strategy level? What's the company overall level? What's your 5-10 year plan about the DEI, right? So we have this space through the review as a container. We bring people together to come in to share. And even more interesting, I worked with some clients before, actually even we do another survey after 3 to 6 months after the training. We go back again to say, okay, so after the training, you reviewed, you use it, and now what's next? Because remember, it's a continuous cycle. So what's next? Some people may say, I realized actually there's another topic under the DEI umbrella. We want to talk more about that. We want to have more resources on that. Or some people say, maybe say, actually what we learned, part of those is now really applied to our business, or it's not really applied to our situation, or something really helpful. We would love to dive deeper, right? So this is a quick example, I guess, hope to help you connect the dots. Oh, hopefully everything makes more sense with the simple example. So with that being said, so let me see, 温故而知新, right, to review the old. So probably in my upcoming LinkedIn Live episode, I will share some of my old Chinese saying from last year, from my sharing. So don't be surprised if you see something similar from last year, because for me, I would be also very interested to know, what I reflect on Chinese saying last year, what changes now coming this year. So let's see what the future brings to us. So like we always say, the more you know, the more you realize you need to learn. So learning is really a lifelong mission, either for individual or company. And the review here, how I see the review is like a chain, to connect each step, to connect each element in learning, in the learning process. Because each step when you are learning, review is very necessary. You don't want to skip that step. Or we can see review as the glue that support a seamless transition between each step when we are continue, keep evolving, keep learning, keep growing. So that's my thought about review. I hope you enjoy my little sharing about my Chinese saying here. So about this program, every Thursday, 5 p.m. Central Europe time, I hope to see you around. I will be sharing one Chinese saying with some reflections, and also do not hesitate to reach out to me. If you would love to be my guest speaker, I'll be more than welcome to have you join me on the LinkedIn Live. Also, if you are curious to what do I do for work, I'm a leadership and intercultural transition coach and also business consultant. You may find more information on my website. I will share in the comments afterwards. And I'm always happy to connect, to extend my network, and to exchange ideas, to brainstorm, and to explore opportunities. So yeah, with that all being said, I think that's the end of my first episode LinkedIn Live of my We Have a Saying in Chinese series. Thank you everyone for being here. I see, yeah, let me see. Okay, thank you for being here, and I will see you around. See you next week.